everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on human AI trust dynamics. Uh, we have our world famous speaker, Mr. Rob Enderle, Mr. Giri, and Professor David Smith. Mr. Rob, how you want to define today's topic? Human AI trust dynamic.
Well, trust is important with regard to any platform, and currently trust with AI is mixed. Some of the earlier implementations were hallucinating and creating underlying issues with regard to being able to trust the tools to do what it was you were asking them to do. In many cases, they were, if you're especially if you're using them to research a particular topic, and the legal area initially was really bad, where there are a number of attorneys here who got disbarred for using AI in their briefs because the AI hallucinated and cited references that didn't exist. Since then, it's gotten a lot better, but restoring trust to a system that is constantly promoted as taking jobs away from others can be problematic. And so restoring trust once it's lost is far more difficult. You have to be able to show that over a period of time, you have to show that things are working as intended and that people are not becoming embarrassed or otherwise harmed by the AI's misacting. We just had an event here in the States with autonomous driven cars, which are basically robots, and Tesla, where California forced Tesla to change the wording surrounding their level 2+ ADAS system, which they were calling autopilot, and kind of promoting as if it was a level 4 system. And it wasn't. It initially wasn't even a level 3+ system, which is where their robotaxi is at the moment. And the end result is a lot of people died. So the core of actually doing this right is, first, don't overpromise and underdeliver, particularly when it comes to harm. And then second, if you've already done that, which sadly we kind of already have, then you have to be very careful not to overpromise, and make sure that you are presenting these platforms within their capability envelope, so that people are not adversely surprised by the fact they're not performing the way they've been advertised. And the final thing is that we got to get around this 90% failure rate in AI deployments, and really get that much closer to 10%, 5%, 0.05% failures. I mean, something in the realm of typical technology, where your failure rates are a small fraction of the actual deployments, as opposed to the major portion of the population. So that's how you do it. It's really making sure that you're telling people what the platforms can do, particularly when it comes to robotics, and not allowing them, or not inferring that these things can do far more than they're actually capable of.
Thank you. Mr. Giri, how you want to define today's topic?
Yes, thank you very much for having me today. Hello, everybody. I would like to take a look from the perspective of my country, the Czech Republic, and how people in the Czech Republic view technology and AI. Briefly, historical and cultural background is that there is a strong engineering and technical tradition in our country, high level of technical literacy as well, I believe, and healthy skepticism toward authority and systems due to the cultural and political happenings in our country, emphasis on practicality and real world results. So people accept AI, but they won't prove it works and remains under human control. And last, I would like to, for this beginning of this discussion, I would like to tell what influences trust in AI high stakes areas. So I see there are 3 areas. First is healthcare. Trust increases when AI supports doctors, not replaces them. People want financial decision made by humans. Certifications and EU regulations matter. AI assistant, not authority. Second is the transportation and autonomy, as was mentioned already by my speaker before me. Caution towards fully automated systems. Trust grows through gradual adoption. Driver assistance first. And last is my education. This is my field, the education. And AI will come as a learning aid and companion, languages and skills, but there is a concern about cheating and loss of critical thinking. That's for me. I give back the word to you, Sharif. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have our new friends, Mr. Lloyd. Thank you for joining today's sessions. And Professor David, how you want to answer this question? What factor most strongly influence whether people trust or distrust AI system in high stake contexts like healthcare, transportation, and education?
Well, Sharif, great question. Uh, and you look at this relationship between human and AIs, it's really important to remember it's not a fixed contract. It's a living system. And as AI systems become more capable, more autonomous, as we begin to see AI and the physical world combine more, uh, the expectations placed on them are going to evolve. And as we've talked before about this, you have to have trust that's predictable, accountable, and has governance that can be used there. So as you look at it, there, as was said before, is you've got to look at the entire ecosystem around it. And particularly in healthcare, transportation, education, others, there has to be a consistent set of factors and systems that shape trust and actually distrust. So really, you need to have the perceived competency to do this. Low error rates, consistency across it, robustness, and really some understanding that it's actually tested and secure. So the second thing you need is transparency. Why the system made a decision, how the data is used, and what the limitations are. The limitations are actually really important in the areas you highlighted, Dr. Sharif. For example, in healthcare, if I'm a clinic, we need to understand the clinical rationale and the system of their of data protection, be it HIPAA, HITRUST, or other things. You need audit paths and trails. If I'm in finance, you need even stronger there. But you also need accountability and governance. And those really come into play there. But one of the things that we're forgetting a lot is there needs to be some humans in the loop for very critical decisions. And that is one where, in many instances, we're fast forgetting that and going back to it. But privacy and really needs to be played there. And how the data is used, we're seeing data use laws all around the world coming out, which none of them are harmonized. So we need to understand those. And the last thing is, to answer your question on this one, Dr. Sharif, there needs to be a proven benefit, because trust grows when people see clear improvements in outcomes, when they see the reduced risk and they see a better experience. So Dr. Sharif, that's my answer to this question.
Thank you, Professor. Mr. Lloyd, can you hear me? Yeah, I have same question for you. What factors most strongly influence whether people trust or distrust AI system in high stake context, specifically for healthcare industry, transportation industry, and education industry? What's your thought? And if you share some of your backgrounds with our audience, maybe our audience can. So Lloyd, I cannot hear you. Can you hear me, Mr. Lloyd? I think, Mr. Lloyd, you can join again, or yeah. Mr. Rob, what's your thought about this question?
Well, a number of factors. We're the impact how people feel about any technology. One of them is the news coverage surrounding it. Number two, their comfort level with technology. Often people that, particularly in the medical area, that have been raised trusting doctors and human operators, are going to have a much tougher time trusting a technology that they've never used before or seen function. And then finally, their own experience, whether or not the technology has helped them, harmed them. And sometimes, by the way, even if the technology is performing well, if it provides answers that go against your belief structure, you're probably not going to trust it. And so there lies one of the bigger problems with regard to interfacing people with artificial intelligence, is we all have within ourselves a problem called confirmation bias, where we look for things that agree with our pre-held conceptions and tend to avoid information that violates those perceptions. And so part of what has to happen is convincing people that AI can be trusted, but also allowing them or helping them understand that they're not always going to be right, and perhaps listening to and understanding concepts, ideas, and rules that contradict their belief structure but are factual would help in the interface. So some of the things we can control: advertising, news coverage, just the images surrounding AI, and the effectiveness of AI. In other words, making sure you're not over-promising and under-delivering. But the last thing is tough. Getting people so that they'll accept positions that disagree with where they believe they ought to be is a much bigger problem. And all of those have to be in place, I think, before we fully trust AIs. Because the AI could be perfectly accurate and extremely capable, but if people don't believe what the AI is saying, then it's still going to be ineffective and untrusted.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd, can you hear me? Mr. Lloyd, can you respond on this question?
I think you need to move on. There's a lot of dead air.
Mr.
All right.
Fred, yeah, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello. Yes, Mr. Fred, we have a question. How does transparency in an AI decision-making process change user willingness to rely on it?
Well, that's going to come down to trust. What can we do to ensure trust in their decision-making process? Because, I mean, the machines have already learned how to lie to us.
Mhm.
Are we going to form a commission, a panel? Is there going to be a set of computer algorithms to decide what a lie is and what isn't?
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, thank you. Mr. David Smith, what's your response? Mr. David. Mr. David, can you hear me?
Yeah, Dr. Tree, this is a very interesting one because Microsoft just announced a new direction where they're starting a program to really figure out how you can do this. How can you get the trust that you need in the process and do it. So we're seeing people get into this from various places, and this announcement this morning from Microsoft really surprised me. But really, transparency changes users and how users interact with the system, and really in very measurable ways. Transparency is interesting. It doesn't really just inform us. which is very important, but it actually shapes how we as users build our mental model of the system, and then depends on how we're going to work with it. And so transparency is really good because it helps me as a user understand what the system is good at, what it struggles at, what data it uses, how confident it is. And I can tell you in my day-to-day use of AI, I see that very clearly among the different systems that are used, and some systems that are used by people who send me things out of the systems. And I shouldn't really probably name product names here, but some of them I just don't trust. You begin to see it, you begin to go follow some of it, and it's not real. And you've got to understand that going through and using the system. But transparency also reduces the fear of hidden failure modes. And is there biased reasoning? Is there unpredicted behavior? If you respond back and ask the AI to go deeper, to clarify something, what does it do? And how does it come back to you? And this transparency, though, particularly if you dialogue, creates a sense of shared control. And it builds accountability, which will let you really build trust over time. And this transparency, though, really can help you learn the system's logic over the time. I find that as I go back and forth between some of the different AI tools, particularly some like Claude and then to others, and they do deploy different logic. And you have to understand it and be able to get into it and understand. But but sometimes too much transparency can backfire, particularly if you're using it to help you put things together to send to others. So, Dr. Sharif, I think that's part of my answer for you.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Didi, what's your response on this question?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Fred, by the way. I would like to say that I would like to talk from the perspective of the Czech Republic, my home country. And again, I would like to mention that very briefly that in Europe, the key expectations include GDPR and data protection, explainable decision process, it might be the same in other countries, and right to human review. Users want to know why the AI decided this way, as was also mentioned again by people speaking before me. I agree with them. And why the AI decided this way and which data it used, and whether the decision can be reviewed. Yes, no explanation, no trust. So this is from me for this point, some points. Thank you very much. Give back word.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd, can you hear me? Mr. Lloyd, can you hear me? Without your headphone, can you try? Do you want to try?
Yes, it's a good idea to try without headphone. It's a good idea.
I would give up.
Okay, in that situation, Mr. Rob, I think Mr. Lloyd has some issues. I think you can try without your headphone. Mr. Rob, when AI make mistakes, what type of error caused the greatest loss of human trust and why?
Well, any mistake that causes directed harm. So when you have an autonomous vehicle that gets into an accident and somebody dies, that's going to be a problem. If you have a medical technology that misdiagnoses and results in a death or further injury that draws ink, that's going to be a problem. So anytime the AI makes a mistake where it causes harm, when it doesn't have to be physical harm either. I used the example earlier of the use of AI in legal pleadings. And the fact that it got the attorneys to use hard, that would also be harm. And so that leads to distrust. I know a lot of attorneys that have AI, most of them are afraid, a lot of them are afraid to use it because they're afraid that it's going to get them into some kind of trouble. and risk of disbarment, which basically means risk of unemployment, is a major concern. So anytime there is significant harm, physical harm that pulls ink, psychological harm, and anything that harms if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, anything that harms those first couple levels of food, living, employment, that's going to do the most damage to trust.
Mr. Lloyd, do you want to try now? Mr. Diddy, what's your response on this question?
Yes, I would like to respond. Thank you. I believe that AI destroys more trust in these cases. Mistakes in these fields, mistakes in medicine or safety. This is very, very important to mention that the errors are crucial. Discriminatory outcomes like hiring algorithms, confident but incorrect outputs, AI hallucinations, and opaque services denial, loans, and insurance. Biggest issue is that AI sounds certain but is wrong. But also, as Rob was saying, this is that we believe it's wrong and it might not be wrong. So it's very, very interesting. I will give you back word, Sharif.
Thank you. Mr. David Smith.
Well, AI does make mistakes, and we see it all the time. But when it does make mistakes, not all mistakes are equal, is I think a good way to put it. There's oftentimes I will go back and tell an AI system answering a set of queries I make that's wrong. Go back, go deeper. But on the other hand, if it's statistically high and you're seeing more and you're seeing the frequency, you're not going to trust it as much. So you begin to look at answers that feel weird or out of character. For example, an AI system giving feedback on similar students' work to you. That's not good. A medical AI that is diagnosing a condition that makes no clinical sense. A autonomous vehicle or robot making radical movements for no visible reason. Those are the type of unpredictable ones. And people can forgive errors that we understand. They cannot forgive errors that they cannot anticipate. And also when you look at high confidence, high stake errors, we've seen, I think all of us on this call probably have seen that in navigation systems, where the AI used with a navigation system takes us places where it doesn't make any sense, or tells us to turn on a road where there's not a road there, or other things like that. So that is one place where the trust is really eroded very quickly. You see places where errors reveal bias. I've seen this as on some of the HR systems where they're constantly downgrading applicants with certain backgrounds. Or, bias isn't a technical failure, it's a moral one. And we have to remember that it's humans and humans' answers that build what is the AI beginning to use. And the other thing is that we have to be careful on this is if the AI comes back with something that's hard to undo errors at, it's irreversible. And, for example, deleting or corrupting critical data, targeting automated actions that a user cannot override. And, there's others ones like that. So the big things you have to look at, I think, come down to, is it unpredictable? Is it unexplainable? Or is it unrecoverable? And I think those are the things, Dr. Sharif, that takes trust away from us when we use AI tools.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Fred.
I got to agree with David and with Rob that the most errors are going to be those with irreparable damage, especially to us personally. In the instance of GPS, we're talking about, we hear about it, see errors like that. I deal with this on a daily basis. I live on a dead-end road, and GPS has determined that the end of my road is a major factory output. So I have had several times where semis come down this tiny little road, have no place to turn around. They've actually had to be towed out of here. And at that point, those companies no longer trust those GPS to get them, because it's extending to the part of irreparable damage. The damage is already done. The cost of the vehicle coming over here, the money spent on the time lost, everything involved here tends to make you not want to trust that system anymore. I see the real thing being the repairs, like you said, those things that can't be reconciled, the damages that can't be reversed, especially personal mistakes made by them that affect our lives every day. That's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Can you hear me now? I think you can try without your headphone. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Rob, what factor most strong influence whether people trust or distrust AI system in high tech? I think you already discussed like my next question, when AI make a mistake, what type of error caused the greatest loss of human trust?
Well, I think I already covered this as well. The ones that cause the most harm. Anything that pulls ink is going to cause trust to evaporate, and of course anything that you experience personally. The example was given about trucks getting lost with GPS. There are even worse ones than that, where people were taken through areas where there were gangs and were killed. There's a road in San Francisco that people were routed to that you really shouldn't be driving on, and that caused a series of problems. And there was an early issue in Germany where a GPS system took somebody that was trying to navigate from Germany to Great Britain, didn't realize that there was a ferry they were supposed to be riding on, and went sailing off a bridge into the ocean, which certainly caused a great deal of concern and caused people to distrust the technology. I should also point out that in Germany, there was another thing that caused distrust with that technology, and that was that male drivers didn't like to listen to the female voice GPS systems because they didn't trust the women to give them directions, which I thought was hilarious. But they're, as they say, you will distrust it if it doesn't fit within your mental framework. So if you're looking for advice, the thing that's providing you with advice has to sound and behave like someone in authority. And so if you were to give an AI the voice of a young child, it probably wouldn't convince anybody to follow it, regardless of how right it was. And so the AI has to present as an expert. It has to present as something you trust, and it can't harm. It can't kill you, and any errors need to be caught before they cause turmoil on either your job or your life. And so that's kind of where we are. Is AIs have to do what you expect them to do, and perform within your framework of understanding and your framework of authority. And so they have to sound authoritative, they have to behave authoritatively, and they have to be right in a way. And by the way, I should point out, even if they're right, but it causes you harm, you're probably still going to distrust them. And so that harm component is a fairly significant one, where an AI that gives you advice, which may be the proper advice, but if it's going to cause you harm, probably needs to point out that harm and ways to avoid it. Collateral damage is not uncommon. So if you were, say, directed in terms of how to do a wedding most cost effectively, but it resulted in the alienation of a bunch of your in-laws, it needs to point out that unintended consequence so that you can mitigate it, because it could give you advice. Well, the way you're going to save money is you just have a wedding between the two of you, which is what we try to do. and but then it should also explain the collateral damage that may occur. In my case, my father-in-law telling me that I was destroying their family, which would have been nice to know ahead of time. The example really has to, or the advice has to be complete. It has to tell you what to do. It has to be accurate, so it doesn't do you harm. And then if there's collateral damage, it needs to point out that collateral damage and ideally showcase how you can mitigate it, so the outcome is favorable. Because even if it's right, if the outcome is unfavorable, you're probably going to distrust it.
Thank you. We have our very special guest from Atish Dipankar University. He is the chairman of Atish Dipankar University, Mr. Samsul Alam Litton, sir. Thank you for joining today's sessions. And you are running a university. And I can remember I joined your last convocations in your university. You are bringing a very unique thought process, unique educations like vocational educations and this industrial 4.0 educations. And most important thing is that from your board, Mr. Ehsanul Haq Milan, he become education minister right now in Bangladesh for new government. So definitely we are discussing about artificial intelligence and so on. We have all of these experts from around the world, from Silicon Valleys and all of the scientists and inventor. So Mr. Samsul Alam Litton, what's your thought about specifically Bangladesh educations and how you want to change Bangladesh education system through your university?
Thank you, Dr. Sharif. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here. And you were right, Dr. Ehsanul Haq Milan is a Bangladeshi American citizen. Both countries has citizenship, and he's from science background as well, but I'm not. But my university and my personal interest is definitely for AI, the revolutionary things, what is going on in every sector. And last 2 weeks back, we have had a conference on AI and other challenges, and particularly on medical issues. So it was nice. And today's event, this is very important because the challenges on coming days on different sectors. And we are really interested to know and to add something in our institutions, in our university, in our institutes, AI and relevant study programs, not only diploma, but full graduation and sector-based, to address sector-based education. So I was just listening, and today, this month, so we have some rituals in these days. I was a bit late, but definitely I will catch it up from Dr. Sharif later. And I'm here, and I will be with you next the 11th part. The next part. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Sharif.
Thank you.
Distinguished guests.
Thank you, Mr. Litton. As you are running a full university and you have the authority, you have the ability to change Bangladesh educations. I just want to focus on education system of Bangladesh. So what's your plan? How you want to change this tertiary education with your innovative solutions? What's your plan?
Basically, our education system is not fully deregulated. So most of the part, particularly primary, secondary education, is fully almost 90% of the education system is governed by government, governed by the ministry and its authorities. But nowadays, Dr. Ehsanul Haq Milan, he was a reformer. And firstly, he was trying his first ministerial days since 2001 to 2006. He was trying to stop copying and other things which was not ensuring quality of education. Nowadays, he's second time he's getting the opportunity for leading the whole education system, and his first declaration is to make it fully digitalized, accountable, and he will try to make it fully deregulated by minimizing government control and to make free the whole education system from government agenda and other things. So hopefully AI and other systems will help us, and we'll be waiting for coming days to introduce and to adopt the systems. We have our infrastructure, we have our satellite, we have our strong internet backbone, and we have ICT tools in every primary school to universities. But what do we need? We need some relevant policies, and we need to train some people, some faculties to address and to fix the things. What we need to move on to our, because our student size, our pupil size is huge, and I can give you an example. Our school secondary certificate examination every year, more than 1 million students taking place school certificate examination, and higher secondary certificate also around 1 million. So this is big size and the basic of the school passing years. So what we need on coming days to need AI and other systems, other IT tools to introduce in high school level on class 6 and up. So there are huge challenges, and Dr. Milon addresses his first press conference on these issues, and there is ample opportunity to work on these issues. And Dr. Sharif, I'm confident that I would like to believe that the institution, your institution, can support these initiatives, and it will be helpful to move on the next steps. Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Litton, I can remember, definitely I am very young compared to your age and experience. You work for Bangladesh president, and long time you were press secretaries, and you are contributing a lot for politics as well as this educational developments, and you build up the innovative university. So what do you think the new government, they can fulfill the agenda, they can fulfill the requirements of the people? Like, we need infrastructures. From our research center, we also innovate like this intelligent infrastructure. Definitely David Smith going to discuss this point after your discussions. Micro mini mesh data centers and quantum computing and AI, how you politically, how you fulfill the people will in industry 4.0. Actually, we are moving to industry 5.0. Dr. Milon, he said that we are in industry 4.0. What's your thought? Specifically, I want to know the political will.
Yeah, no, thank you. You said, politics is everything, because state is a political machinery. So if government give emphasis by their political manifesto, election manifesto and political priority, that's a big issue for a nation, because education is basically base of everything, foundation of the civilization. So, and the thing is heavily highlighted, and I believe that would be happen. That is 5% of GDP will be allocated for education. So 5% of the GDP is a huge amount. I'll explain in my article. I'm writing an article what it means and what it will affect the 180 millions nation. And this is not only for this country, but it will create some impact in our world education system. 3% of world population is living in this small land, and so the population more than 10 million are living outside. So they are working, they are studying, and they are in every sphere of life. But education, they are skilled and non-skilled. So the education allocation and 5% of GDP, that will create huge impact in next decades. So what do we need? We need to make a bridge on other civilized and highly established dynamic education systems in different countries. So the country need to introduce and to innovate and to introduce the systems which was tested in UK, USA, or Australia, or at least Philippine or Far Eastern countries. So this is very challenging. This is not very easy how I am talking about. So we need a very specific some suggestions from speakers, from honorable speakers, distinguished speakers, from their excellent experiences that how Bangladesh can promote AI-based education system, health system, and other development sides, social development and other development sides. So we'll be waiting to work together, and I hope Dr. Sharif and your institution, your distinguished guests who are here and not present here, if we get your collaboration, that will create huge difference from Bangladesh as well as other societies as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Litton. Actually, the long term in Asia Pacific, I'm contributing with this IBEON, with the intelligent infrastructure. Even yesterday, you see this Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, he is inviting all of the tech experts to collaborate in India and developing AI-based ecosystem and intelligent infrastructures through education, through modern science, engineering, and technology. Bangladesh also has 171 million people. Our most important part, we speak in same language, like in Bengali language, around 280 to 300 million people. So maybe with our technopolis, with our technocracy, what we regularly go for the scientific publications, we go for innovation, we always invite impact investment. So Mr. David Smith, what's your advice specifically how Bangladesh achieve? Because Mr. Litton is highly dynamics educators, politicians, and journalists. So he has ability to manage the policy level of Bangladesh education and intelligent infrastructure. What's your thoughts and how IBEON can contribute for Bangladesh economy? Like, I want to see that $20-30 billion investment come to Bangladesh for next 5 years as they are very educated and dynamic things. And what's your thoughts? What's your policy?
Well, Dr. Sharif, thank you. I love what you're beginning to do there in Bangladesh. Having experience with this in multiple locations, both in the United States and globally, and for your information, I live in Austin, Texas, which really has began to pull over the past decades. Many of the things you've talked about as we became a technology center and hub, and now a space center and hub as well, is that you first of all have to look across the wider community. And using AI today is a tool that can help us begin to do it. But one of the gentlemen, one of my mentors, George Kosmeski, co-founder Litton Teledyne, President's Award, Technology, Cambridge, a bunch of stuff like that. Well, he developed a concept called the Technopolis concept that we worked with him on. And it's bringing together academia, the government, big companies, small companies. It's bringing together the services. Many people forget the services, and the citizens to create a shared vision of what can be happened. For example, when we brought the Semiconductor Industry Consortia, Semitech, to Austin, Texas, and I was an executive at Semitech, one of our biggest problems there was we didn't have enough technicians. So we went to our community colleges and others to do that. When MCC and the computer industry came to Texas, one of the big things missing in Austin was how do you market software? How do you do things like that? And we use the Technopolis concept to solve that. With today's world being very digitized, and with the fact that almost any device that takes power costs more than $100 has a chip in it, we have to look at a new way to begin to take that and expand it. And one of the approaches to put a digital platform like the one Dr. Sharif referenced with our company IBEON and tie all those together, where you have common services, where you have data interoperability, where smart cities, smart regions, smart communities, smart factories, smart government, smart healthcare, I can keep on going, all come together and work together. And I think that's what we're seeing why AI is beginning to take off. AI is not about the AI applications. AI is about the data that is the applications are using. And we need to do the same thing as we look at regions like yours is how to make the data and the applications and the services, the academia, the companies all work together. And that's going to be one of the real keys to your success there.
Thank you. I'm just sharing our technocracy, how we inventing the technocracy and technocracy happening around the world. This is our scientific innovations and scientific book. I think last few years we are working on these things, the technocracy, the rule of expert, what Mr. David Smith is discussing. And through innovative academic research publishers, we are bringing these things for emerging economy like Bangladesh, emerging economy definitely like Pakistan, like Bangladesh, even Malaysia and Indonesia. These are the countries they can execute this technocracy, the rule of expertise in a modern world, and they can bring more success and progress for their society. Mr. Rob, as you are expert for policy and strategy, how the largest corporations and from Silicon Valley, they can collaborate with Bangladesh politicians, Bangladesh government, Bangladesh education system, and uplift our 171 million peoples. As Mr. Litton, he is a part of Bangladesh government and he has ability to influence the higher education and so on. So what's your thoughts? How we can bring more success strategically?
Well, you have to be able to, you have to engage with the executive leadership. Most of these companies do have educational outreach. Intel, for instance, has a lab structure where they work heavily with select schools to advance their underlying technology, but you have to go where they are. Send people to lab events, meet the executives that are in charge of these various outreach efforts, and then showcase what value you can supply to them. They're not philanthropic organizations by nature. They're focused on profit and expansion. And today we just had a major shakeup. The tariff structure that the U.S. president had been putting in place was just blown up, and so that tariff structure was driving an awful lot of interest in terms of creating distributed manufacturing and development to get around the tariffs. But that tariff structure is now in doubt. The Supreme Court just ruled against the presidential power to levy tariffs. We'll see what happens. It's going to make for a rather interesting day today and probably an interesting week next week. So part of this is what can you provide? Can you provide insights onto markets and particular regional needs? Can you open up revenue opportunities in military, government, or civilian use? What value can you provide to the entity that would make them want to engage with you? That's always the case. It's, as I say, these aren't philanthropic organizations, and so you've got to be aware of what it is they want to accomplish, and then position whatever it is you have against that requirement. And if you can do that, then you can identify the people that are in charge of the effort that you can help, and then work to contact them. Probably the best way to do that is to go to events where they are. The various events. We've got events on artificial intelligence. We've got events on automotive. We've got events on infrastructure. We've got events on pretty much every aspect of applied technology. And at these events, you can meet the executives. Often it's easier to meet a subordinate than a VP. But if you can meet with and engage with someone, and if you have the understanding of the company's wants and needs, then you can frame your interest in that regard, and then basically sell whatever it is you can provide to the individual, and then work up to where you get to a decision maker and force a decision. There's a methodology to this. I expect most of the major universities here have people that are specifically assigned to outreach. And it's their job to contact these executives, to build relationships, and to drive revenue into their own research organizations and education structure. Sometimes it's just something as easy as, hey, we need a certain class of employee in region. And if you can close that particular gap, then you can provide a value. Of institutions have the ability to train people to fill specific needs. and those needs are always changing. And if you can stay engaged with what those needs are, and then adopt your curriculum to those needs, then you have a much better chance of providing what the company wants. And if you have research organizations that are focused in areas and advancing in those areas uniquely, then again, that provides you with an argument. But you do have to curate it. It's not something you can go out and blast out in advertising and say, "Hey, we're here to send us money." You really have to engage at a fairly decent level, and really spend the time to research and understand the companies that you're going after to really make your pitch successful. There's a process, and there are people that are trained in that process.
Thank you. Honorable Mr. Litton, like, as you have a strong engagement even in the Western world, long time you live in Britain, and you have engagement with media, educations, and politics, very dynamic character you have. So what's your thought? Because definitely the AI industry need culture, social, and ethical norms. So what's your thought? Do you believe that Bangladesh, after these elections, they are in right shape of these cultural, social, and ethical norms, and the foreign corporations and the foreign largest university, they are the representative from around the world, how they can collaborate with Bangladesh government, or how they can collaborate with your universities and play more and improve what we are observing in even in Madras, even in IIT. Is it possible in Bangladesh? What's your thought? Can you unmute, please? Mr. Litton, can you unmute, please?
Yeah. I was listening from Mr. David and Mr. Rob. So it was nice, and the thing, the question you raised, I'll answer after 30 minutes. Just I want to raise one thing, that semiconductor and other things. Semiconductor, we have 1-2 units in Bangladesh for design and just packing and something like that. But as I know, Taiwan made huge development on semiconductor, and when we are discussing as a layman that semiconductor is a matter of $1 billion or billion plus dollars investment and other issues, and definitely there are some scholarly people also needed here. So I would like to request Mr. Dr. Sharif that from skills from David and Rob, you can take some, particularly David was emphasizing these issues. How can a country like Bangladesh, where 170 plus or 180 million people are living, and out of this 70% is educated, and out of this 30% plus is graduated. So it is very important. But what do we need? We need some training on these sectors, and capital movement as a developing country. International banks, institutions, and some joint venture initiatives are also highly appreciated from Western banks and venture capital groups. So how can we link it? Because a dynamic person like Nobel laureate Dr. Yunus, he was leading last 18 months in Bangladesh as the head of an interim government, and he was very busy with political issues. But he have had one program on at the end of 2010 and 2011. He was thinking like the way to establish second Silicon Valley in Bangladesh. But nowadays he was also very keen to establish semiconductor industry. But time not allowed him to do something important for this issue. Secondly, so you can take some expert opinion. How can we make it up, and how we can follow Taiwanese experience or some other experience that is relevant with our demographic and other opportunities. Secondly, you raised a question about social, cultural, and other dynamics. How can we collaborate? and how can we make some gains and to face the challenges. This is very important. Nowadays, we are when our university was established at the time, computer engineering was very important. Computer science and engineering, and nowadays it is divided into 5, 6, 10 faculty departments, and every department is more important than computer science, basic computer science. So our society, particularly educated and employed people who are engaged in science and tech related professions, they are facing one thing, that world is moving almost second and third level, where we are staying. Still, we are in the age of computer science. So how we can catch the upgraded version of the scenario of the civilization? So as you know, our development was seriously stuck and seriously threatened by a different type of government that was autocratic, and somewhere it was established an oligarch economy. So our education system, economic system was seriously affected, though the regime was based on their political thoughts to make a smart Bangladesh or something like that. But finally, we have seen that the country is under a huge debt, more than 250 billion. And the majority of this money was spent by the name of smart things, digitalization and other things. We have excellent structures, infrastructure for digital lab and innovation hubs in divisional basis, more than 8 spots, and internet network, everything. But we have not enough skilled people to prepare millions of young people who are not in education, employment or training. So this is a huge gap. Whereas 3.5 million graduated young people are just running on the market to gain any training that is relevant for the market, relevant for the development and industry and education. So culturally, they are fine. They want to take it. Government is in a mission to make a real digital or real smart Bangladesh, because this is the only option to address hundreds of issues, hundreds of problems. So what we can do, we can invite some international scholars like the distinguished guest here, and some people also relevant on these experiences. So we can explore, because seeing is believing. If you see the real scenario, actually virtually everything is not possible. So that we can explore and we can engage government to take the things, the suggestions to adopt social, cultural, and other development issues. It is. I think the issues are actually collective. It is not a single dimension. Everything is relevant with each and everything. So I'm quite sure our society, their outlook is progressive, but they have the gap between expertise and of intention. Also, government is facing the same. So it's a new government. They have new vision, and they want to use the infrastructures, knowledge, and human resources to get these things done. So, Dr. Sharif, I think you got my points, and
definitely.
So you can conclude something on these issues, how we can move forward with some very practical solutions.
Definitely. Last 3 years, we are distributing our resources with Dhaka University. Many scholars from our World Talent Economic Forum, like Professor Fred, Mr. Home Stoner, and many scholars like Tom Ross. They are visiting Bangladesh from USA, from Silicon Valley, from Texas Austin, from and we can make a very good collaborations. And definitely technology is the most important factors. I believe that Bangladesh can improve the intelligent infrastructure platform, what we are doing in India with IIT, and what you see that India is doing, because this is near, not so far from Bangladesh. And third important issue is data monetizations. I think Bangladesh has a lot of data centers. Issue is that how the Bangladesh government and Bangladesh people can protect their data and data monetization. And 171 million people, so 180 million people. This is huge communities, right? So this is one of the way we can monetize the data, and we can protect our healthcare, our educations through this process. We definitely go for a very short presentation that how we can do this, specifically developing this ecosystem. Mr. Ghulam Moshiz, you are also from Bangladesh and you have experience to contribute in the policy level. How we can improve AI policy in Bangladesh?
Thank you very much. Good evening, gentlemen. It was very interesting. I joined a bit late, but I was, going through all the information and you're sharing. It's very interesting and very useful. First of all, technology is something that it cannot be taught. It has to come from your very inside, that what is technology. You must have an interest in technology. That's very important. We are comparing something like India, I think Dr. Sharif mentioned. You see, the highest level, Mr. Modi is promoting or creating platform for technology since last 10 years. He himself is committed and he's convinced that AI and the technology must be, embedded in the social, cultural, human life of India. So, first of all, the leadership must be committed to welcome the technology and AI. During my tenure in Middle East, I have seen a lot of African countries have been benefited with technology and especially also with AI. They are using AI not only for, education, they are using it for the health care, they are using it for agriculture, they are utilizing it for environment as well. So I think these are very important, that the leadership of a country, first of all, must be interested and be committed to welcome such technology or AI, because it is top down. It cannot go from bottom to up. It has to come from the top down, because it needs policy approval and, a lot of legal issues as well. I was hearing Mr. Rob was mentioning that you can invite a lot of famous companies, but these are not what you call a philanthropic company. They are very much, business oriented, or, they would like to see self-sustaining. Unfortunately, our leadership, especially if you see Professor Yunus, he's a very experienced man, very knowledgeable man, but he's from NGO background. And a person from NGO background, they are far away from the, they always believe in philanthropy, free money, but not really in the commercial aspects. They are very successful. So in the 1.5 years, Professor Yunus had all the opportunity. People had trusted him that he will do something very special for the country. Unfortunately, he just passed on 1.5 years and handed over the power to a elected government. But we didn't see much done in this field of technology or, AI. Now, coming back to point, you see, there is a something, in a developing country about AI. First of all, they feel that AI is going to replace a lot of their workforce. But this is not true. I feel that new careers will be come up with the introduction of AI. It is not because people think that AI will take away my job, AI will lose the job. But I think, if you see from the positive angle, AI will also create new careers, new jobs. which I think I'm confident it's not going to replace the workforce. It is also going to create a lot of jobs as well. Then another thing you mentioned, trust. Yes, that's a very important point. How far we can trust the information with AI. I think there are some also what we call some institution who are looking very carefully so that the AI really provide the trustworthy information or whatever it comes up with is a trustworthy notes. Then I think the AI can, for a country like Bangladesh and the developing countries, they can contribute a huge in education, in healthcare, agriculture, environment. I can assure that, and these are also can generate fund to attract the foreign investor as well. Because if when we, unfortunately, our mindset of the policymaker is that they, for the last 50 years, they very much survived on grant money, aid money, or NGO money. But now, with the graduation of Bangladesh in the coming years, from LDC to graduation, they will have to face the reality of the world economy. If they want to integrate to the world economy, they have to come out from this mindset of free money. It has to be self-sustaining. It has to be a commercial funding, and it is possible, provided you can structure the policies, the projects which will attract the foreign investor. Because if you use the AI in the farming, we can show the farmers you will have increase what you call output, which will give additional income to the farmers, and which they will be able to pay to the service provider. Same thing in the health also. If we can show that it is going to save you money, it will save you a lot of extra expenses, that will also generate some money to pay for the service provider. Same thing I should say, in every aspect of AI, I think it is money generating possibilities are there. But one thing we have to make sure that AI technology, it should benefit the people, and people should have access to it. It should not be limited to a small section of businessmen or a small section of politics. It should be widely be available. And people are paying for the services. And I'm sure if these are introduced in Bangladesh, people will be more than happy to see that they have been paid to the service provider, and it will help and develop the whole society, the economy, as well as when the other day we discussed about politics. I think politics is also going to be changed with the gradual introduction of AI. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. We have to go for concluding remarks. Mr. Rob, what's your closing remarks for today?
Well, we're kind of off the rails with regard to trust and artificial intelligence at the moment. We've had an awful lot of problems, some of them deadly, and that means we have to rebuild the trust that we should have started off with. And really, if we look at a lot of things that are going on today, it's concerning. The fight between the U.S. Department of Defense, or Department of War, as it's now called, and Anthropic, is problematic, because what they're doing is they're trying to disconnect all the safety elements and the technology that's going to be applied to citizen oversight and weaponry. And you really don't want AI-driven weaponry that doesn't have some ethical guidelines as to how it can be used. It could be very problematic. It's very much like we looked at the movie Terminator and said, hey, let's do that. So we really need to get back to the basics and focus on ethics and assuring that AI does what it's supposed to do and doesn't do harm. One comment again back to the integration or the attraction of companies into countries like Bangladesh. Best approach is really to look at the gaps of where research currently is or critical needs. Right now, microprocessor development isn't so much a critical need. Where we have a critical need is energy efficiency, energy supply, energy delivery, data latency. We're talking about putting data centers in space. The problem to solve with that is going to be latency. That's going to be the big problem. So getting ahead of the curve and anticipating where the need's going to be and then developing unique resources against that need provides an inroad for companies to want to engage with you. And then we'll move on, and that's it for me. And I've got to run. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Giri, what's your closing remarks for today?
Yes, thank you very much for being here. I am Yerzy Borch. I am a human, and we are meeting five countries, 3 continents here tonight with you guys. I'm so honored, and thank you very much for a great discussion. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. David Smith. What's your closing remarks for today? Can you unmute, please, David?
Dr. Sharif, as Rob said, we've covered a wide gamut today, as we've discussed with this. And, you know, if I look at where we're going with AI, where we're going with transforming nation states like Bangladesh and others, there's common elements actually from what we see there. You know, human AI trust becomes really clear. It's not a byproduct of technology, it's the outcome of intentional design and governance. One of the things I tell government leaders very often is we've transitioned today to where a location is not a place on a map. What it is it has become a place where the core competencies and capabilities you have to accomplish what you need to do. It's just like technology is not a thing. The definition I use out of Webster's for technology is just the application of knowledge to achieve a result. If I'm going to work to pull together a country like Bangladesh, that's what I need to do. I need to take the data, let it become information, let the information become knowledge, and then wisdom and action to produce the outcome. And you have to go through that path to get there. And you do it by using group intelligence. Because what has complicated everything with AI and trust is everything in the world today has become a system of systems. And particularly as we look at governments, as we look at academia, as we look at most of the companies, they have not come to that conclusion. And we have to use group intelligence and a connected processing using shared information, shared services, and even look at a new approach to data to transform this and to make it where AIs and humans and academia and government and companies can come together to create the best possible outcome. Because where we're headed is what's the next big thing after data and AI, I believe is going to be speed of innovation. And what's interesting to me is if I look at a country like Bangladesh and what you've done with the government programs, with the other things there, you have the underlying foundation with some help to really excel in this next generation of speed of innovation. And AI is part of it, automation's part of it, merging the digital and the physical domains are all going to be part of that, all while meeting the compliance and the regulatory challenges that are not just in Bangladesh, but they don't stop at the country borders. So it's an international approach that needs to be comprehended for it to be successful. So I could keep going on this, Dr. Sharif, but I think that's a short version of the closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Fred, what's your closing remarks for today?
I want to thank everybody for allowing me to participate in these programs, and hi to all of you. I hear a couple of words here the whole time. One is money, the other is human. We have to strike a balance between those systems that are designed for profit, and as far as transparency issues goes, that they're not going to conceive themselves as the one important more than their supporting role. And we have to develop this on an international level where nations like Pakistan and Bangladesh are included in the talks between everybody else who have a better chance of doing it. Don't let the money decide what the human face has to be. I thank everybody here for participating.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd, you want to add any point? Okay, in that situations, Mr. Litton, what's your closing remarks for today's sessions?
Fine. I think I've missed some points, and that's covered by Mr. Ghulam Mersi. And thank you. And I'll be waiting a summary of this session because we have to move on. And South Asian countries, exceptionally Hyderabad and other cities, they did well, and some international contribution they have made, and so that we can share our international, we can get international experiences, and how can we mitigate the divide of have and have-nots. So this is the real challenge, and please, Dr. Sharif, prepare a plan and prepare based on today's discussion, and hopefully we will be able to work together to mitigate the issues, to achieve the goals what we need, and that is already discussed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Litton. I know that you have a great university. University ecosystem is very important for us. So we want to deploy our innovations in your university through your like education ministers and all of the things, because you have media, you have your university, you have your political diplomacies and all of the things, which is very, very important for AI, quantum computing, and data centers. And you will be happy even in the Western world. Many of the resources like Kokoro, Wisdom App, like this climate innovations, CEO development programs, Skittree, what is happening in India and in IIT. Many things with my teams in Bangladesh I invented with the help of my Western world friends. And we heavily utilizing the knowledge I think I shared with you before, and everything's from Bangladesh, our own innovations, and it's utilizing in the Western world. So through this process with the Global North and Global South, we can uplift our community, we can uplift your university, we can bring more opportunity for Bangladesh. Mr. Ghulam Mushib, what's your closing remarks for today?
Actually, it's very interesting. Actually, we are here together. Not only for business, but for, I think, the welfare of the common people of the countries, not only in Bangladesh, but third world countries, who definitely will be getting benefit from what we have discussed or what we are discussing. If we can start with some specific program to begin with, I've just mentioned that we can start with the health program to start with in Bangladesh. Then we can gradually go to the neighboring countries and to the African countries. I'm sure this will be a great thing to start with. Then we go gradually to agriculture sector. Then we go to what you call economics, to the business. I think we have to start somewhere, which will prove, that it is going to work and it will be useful for the people, welfare of the people. So I think this will be very important if we all work together. And Dr. Sharif, I request you to take the lead so that you can coordinate and prepare a concrete proposal to start with health service for Bangladesh. Then we go with the gradual with the SAARC countries, South Asian countries. Then we go gradually to the other developing countries. I think this will be very important and very useful for the countries who are lagging behind. We have been, not getting any benefit out of this new technology available to the developed countries. So I'd request all, you will be contributing a great to the welfare of the society and the human being throughout the world. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm just sharing our proposal like innovative national innovations, because which is very important for our education. Even Mr. Litton, I'm closely observing the new government initiative, specifically in the education industries and specifically for the education sectors. This is the way we can develop these ecosystems like Bangladesh, like your university and education ministry can be catalyst for innovative solutions with the AI, quantum computing, and micro data center. Data monetization is the key for economic development, for creating more opportunity in healthcare and education. We can create an ecosystem, and this ecosystem can help to improve our entrepreneurship developments, can improve our impact investment, can improve to develop research and innovations. We can make an alignment with education. Definitely you have your own university. We can make an alignment with the corporations and specifically the government. Government is very important factor for us. If you see the World Innovation Strategy, right now Bangladesh position in 105. If we want to attract global investment, what Rob is discussing today, if we want to attract the global, all of the inventors, scientists, even though the not-for-profit money, definitely we have to go for data monetization. Also, I request the Western world, you should invest more in Bangladesh education, Bangladesh healthcare, because of this data monetization. The major benefit, the Facebook, this Google, actually getting through this Bangladesh people data. So you should invest in Bangladesh communities. And beside that, we are offering these very innovative education systems through the AI and quantum computing and data centers. And definitely we go for leadership development. We have to develop a strategy, national strategy, and portfolio. What factors? Mr. Ghulam Moshi mentioned about agriculture, mentioned about our garments industries, or mentioned about our laborers and our labor incentives, how we can do these things. And most important factor is that culture. That is the things our World Talent Economic Forum doing, the Global North and Global South, the best players from Harvard, from MIT, from Stanford, the Nobel laureate, all of the largest corporation integrating with this Bangladesh or Global South communities. And we need intelligent infrastructure. Not only that, this digitalizations and all of the world, we need intelligent infrastructure, and this intelligent infrastructure can help us to monetize it, to help us for agile developments, not only the political diplomacy. It brings economical, social, and political values for these things. So previously we do it with this Dhaka University, and because of lot of political instability and other things, we cannot finish this job. If Mr. Litton, you can allow us, we want to do it in your university, and it can be world next Harvard or world next MIT or world next IIT in Bangladesh. And by this way, we can grow our economy. By this way, we can improve our educations and all of the sector. That is our innovative solutions, what we are offering for today's sessions. And thank you, Mr. David Smith, Mr. Fred, Mr. Lloyd, Jiris, Mr. Ghulam Moshis, and definitely Litton Bhai, how you joined. I'm really impressed by your contributions. And I request all of our audience, please share our content with the government agency, corporation, and academia. Next week, we have very, very important scientific conference with innovative academic research publishers from France. European Union is our great collaborators, and they are also investing in our initiative. So hopefully everybody will join, and we can develop a scientific community, and we can improve our society with modern science, engineering, and technology. Thank you everyone for joining today's sessions. Thank you, bye-bye, and take care.
Thank you.